First up, if you follow my training, you will know that I suggest to you, when you're looking at getting your samples, you should get at least 3 samples of your product from 3 different suppliers, okay? The reason that we do that is because oftentimes one of your samples will be crap. So you have 2 as backup, and it's very, very rare that all 3 samples are crap. It's typically the case that 1 is, 2 are okay, and you would pick your best one out of your other 2, okay? So if you follow my training, you shouldn't find yourself in that situation to begin with without a backup plan at least anyway. Other things to consider, just as a side note, it all depends, of course, based on your question, what it means to have not met your expectation. We all have expectations running all the time about all things on Amazon. And it's unmet expectations that will put you in a shitty mood, make you feel depressed and deflated, and generally ebb away at your confidence. Unmet expectations, they do that in relationships too, especially unmet, unvoiced expectations about the way that things should happen, for instance. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. So it's best, of course, to say what your expectations are. So one thing, for instance, that I do with new suppliers, if their images that they have, let's just say it's Alibaba just for ease of chatting about it, if their images, what they have on their product are not so great, then I ask them to take some new images that are high resolution and to send those images to me so that I can see for instance, what the actual product looks like up close. So if I was looking at buying this hot water bottle and these images weren't particularly good quality, then I would contact the manufacturer and say, hey, can you send me better images so I can have a better look at the product? That way you get to see the product in close-up, and it can save you a lot of money as well in doing that. Talking of saving money, one thing you definitely want to do if you're getting 3 products is use a sample consolidation service. For instance, if it was in China, you were getting all your suppliers in China to send you something, you would get them just to ship your product to your sample consolidation service in China, and then they would consolidate your samples. They could even look at them for you, therefore saving you the money associated with doing that, and send them over to you. That would save you a fortune. We use, for that, sample checkers, although he's currently so friggin' busy, it's beggars belief. So we use sample checkers for that, and he will consolidate your samples. That's Shano there, he's bloody awesome. He will consolidate your samples, he's based in China, and then send them over to you. But he'll also check them for you as well and say, hey, these are shithouse. So if you've got expectations about what your sample should be like, you are much better off communicating them right up front. And that will save you paying down the track. And then when you get your samples, if your sample is something like, I don't know, like you don't like the color of the plastic that's being used on a particular thing, for instance, chances are you can get that changed, and that's a pretty easy change to make. But if you want a fundamental change making to the sample that would require the sample being almost reproduced in its entirety, that's doable but expensive. So everything is possible, but everything's got a price for it. So if it's things like a low quality fabric that's been used, oftentimes you can get a better quality fabric. You just go to your supplier and say, I really like this about it, but the quality of the clasp that you've used is very low. Can you source a higher quality clasp for me? Etc, etc. They will definitely do that for you. So they want your business, they'll help you out as much as possible. Not sure if I answered that question. Let me just reread the question. I kind of got on a riddle rant there. Keep trying other suppliers or ditch it. I would go back to your supplier first. I would also make sure I try other suppliers. Given that you can't get your needs met, then ditch it. That's what I would do. Damo says, what if your sample was good, then your first batch of 100 were poor? Well, that's why you always get your first batch of products checked in the country of origin. So if you're buying from China, you always get them checked. First time you buy from them, you always get them checked. So that's why I tell you to do that, just in case that happens. Shane advice today. So Kate says, Shane advice today, he's taken on new staff, but as an audit, he's doing blah, 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 blah. So he is very, very busy at the minute, Shano is, so maybe not go to him. Alexander, what I do on top of nothing to do with that. Sarah, why do they charge so much for samples when you can often get them on AliExpress very, very cheap? Well, why do they charge so much? Oftentimes it's the shipping that's expensive. It's not so much the samples that are expensive, it's the FedEx charge to get them from China to you that's expensive. That's what's oftentimes expensive. Chrissy says it's a good idea to have purchase order contract with loads of photos of what you require. Yes, I agree. All right, let's continue on. So Ebony and Josh, question from those guys. What is the best way to get rid of excess stock? I want to get some money back from some products so I can move forward with some new products. All right. Here's the deal. Your first order that you make for your first product on Amazon, don't order heaps of stock. I know of people, gurus as I call them, who will tell you to order 500, 1,000 units of stock to begin with, units of your stock to begin with. That is a huge mistake. Don't do that shit. If I'm ordering in America, the most I would order, the absolute most I would order would be 250, 300 units. In America, the most. In Australia, the absolute most I would order would be 100 units. The absolute most I would order for my first order. Any more than that, it's just too big a risk for me. I don't want to have my stock and my money tied up in dead inventory. And you don't know with any certainty if your first product will sell. Who the fuck knows? I mean, who the hell knows if your first product will sell? You don't know with certainty until you go through things. All we can ever do is minimize risk. That's all we can ever do, all right? There are no guarantees. So anybody that tells you any different is just full of shit, for sure. So all we can ever do is minimize risk. Risk is capital invested in business. So you want to invest as little as possible, which is why I tell you all these cool things that you can do. Invest as little as possible in your business to avoid having lots of your money invested in capital that ultimately doesn't sell. Hey, thanks so much for watching that video, and I hope that you got some massive value from it. Before you go, do you live in Australia? If you do, this is for you. Would you like to learn how to sell things on Amazon here in Australia? Would you like to know what sells really, really well and what sells for the maximum amount of profit? Would you like to know where you can source those products from, whether that be in China or here in Australia, and how to source them so you pay bottom dollar and get maximum value for what you're doing? If you do, please subscribe to my channel and like this video, and you'll learn that and much more. It's the exact same information that people like Jeff from New South Wales I've used to make $45,000 a month on Amazon. that Sue, who's from the sunny coast, has used to purchase herself a brand spankly BMW every single year as a result of her e-commerce business, and the lovely Kate from Bowral in New South Wales has used to make $32,000 a year on, a month, not a year, a month on Amazon, and indeed Anthony, who makes $15,000 a month on Amazon, selling, as he puts it, odds and sods. If you'd like to learn the exact same information that they use to maximize their profits for their Amazon businesses, subscribe to this video, like my channel, post below if you want me to teach you something. Okay, I'm out of here. Speak to you soon. Bye. Subscribe. Do it now.